Hello everyone, and in this video I will be going over a method to change our tiles in any specific position that you want it in within the world. We're also going to fix a problem, and that problem is the world not being centered like it should be. And we're also going to keep the camera from leaving the world, so the camera will not be able to look anywhere outside of the world. Okay, so to fix the origin problem, we get rid of this camera.setPosition in the main method, in the main class, I should say. And that should have the top left tile centered as it should be. Okay, now let's add in our method to change the tile. So we'll create a public void set tile method, and this will take in a tile, and it'll take in the position X and Y. And we're going to use the same equation that can be found in the render tiles here, and except we're going to replace J with X and I with Y. And we'll set that to tile get ID. So let's test this out. I'm going to create a new tile, and I believe I have another texture set for this. Yeah, checker. We'll use checker. Make sure you have byte set to 1. And let's go ahead and add the tile into the world. Tile2, tile.test2. And we'll set that at the top left corner. And there we go. So let's have it at the fourth one, at the X of 4 and Y of 3. So that would be 3 and 2. Exactly. So I'm going to set this back to 0, 0 for the top left. Okay, now let's get on to implementing the correct camera function, which will correct our camera in case the camera has moved off of the world. So before I actually implement this, we're going to need a new variable, int scale. And scale will be equal to 16, and we'll replace we'll replace 16 with scale in the world.scale. So now the world can use the scale. Now we can go with implementing the method. So public void correct camera, and we're also going to take in a window. Now you'll see why we'll take the window in just a minute. And there is one thing. If you have your model different from this model, where the origin is in the center of the box, or you have the camera matrix set differently, or yeah, those are pretty much the two factors there. If you have the world matrix, or not the world matrix, the camera matrix projection set different, the model set different, and if you translate the world yourself instead of having the camera translate, this equation is going to be very off, and you're probably going to have to tune it for yourself. Just throwing that out there. So we can start off by creating a vector3 pos, and this is going to hold a reference to camera get position. And we're going to create a couple of variables here. Int w will equal to negative width times scale times 2, and int h will just equal to positive height times scale times 2. So we take our width of the level, multiply this by scale, and we multiply this by 2. So scale multiplied by 2 gives us the actual scale of the box. And when we multiply that with width, we get the exact width of our world. And the same applies to height. Scale times 2, the exact scale of the tile, times height, which is the height of the world, which gives us our exact height of the world. Okay, so now comes the testing. So we'll test the left position. If pos.x is greater than negative, and put this in parentheses, window get width divided by 2 outside the parentheses plus scale. And if it is, pos.x equals window get width divided by 2 plus scale. Essentially the same thing that's found in the if statement. So let's test and see if this works. But before that, we must change the width and height. Otherwise, you'll get some pretty crazy effects if the world is small and we have finished the calculations on all 4 sides. So now that we change it to a size more suitable, let's go into the update area for our game. And just below the camera movements, we'll use world correct camera, pass in our camera and our window. And what went wrong? Oh, I see why. That should be negative. Okay. So now this works. Remember, this the top left. This will keep reference to see if it's actually going to the top left. Now let's test the right position. So if pos.x is less than w plus window get width divided by 2 plus scale, then our position.x will of course equal the same thing. And to test if that is actually correct, I'm going to set another tile at the bottom right hand corner which will be 63, 63, because the size of our world is 64 by 64. So let's go ahead and test this out, and I am going to go to the bottom right corner to see if it works. And it works like it's supposed to. Now let's get on with the Y positions. So if pos.y, if this is less than window.getHeight divided by 2 minus scale, then pos.y equals window.getHeight divided by 2 minus scale. And it works. And last but not least, the bottom. Pos.y is greater than h minus window.getHeight divided by 2 minus scale. And pos.y will equal the same thing. Okay, now let's test the bottom right hand corner. Again, we'll go there. And it works like it's supposed to. And that should be it for the calculations. Okay, so this area right here really matters on the camera projection matrix. So our camera projection matrix is set up to where the origin is in the center. And what I mean by this is if you have your origin of the camera set to the top left of the screen, then the equation is going to be slightly different. So here we get the width divided by 2, and we have this in the negative. And this means if our camera is more towards the left. And if it is, then we're just going to push it over. And by push it over, I mean set it to exactly what it's testing. And we use plus scale because if it wasn't plus scale, I'll show you. If it wasn't plus scale, then it would stop at only half the tile, which is not what we want. So the plus scale and minus scale prevent the view from stopping at half of the tiles, which is something we don't want to stop at. We don't want to stop at half the tiles. It won't look correctly depending on your textures. So that's pretty much it. That's all for this tutorial. And next time we'll probably be going over more of the world, since I am not liking the way I have set up the tile. Matter of fact, I can actually do that in this video right now. I don't like the way we're setting up the ID, so I'm just going to completely get rid of that in the constructor. Completely get rid of it. And instead, I'm going to have a private, I'm going to have a public static int tiles, or no, not tiles, number of tiles, NOT, and that's going to be set to 0, and this .id will equal to NOT, and then afterwards NOT++. Oh, sorry, this should be a byte. There we go. And this should be better. This will automatically allocate it to an ID that's not used. And that is just so much better. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. In the next video, if there's still anything more to cover about the worlds, we'll probably be going over the worlds. Other than that, we might add our player. And this is going to be weird because some of you may want a platformer, or some of you want like a Zelda style RPG as your 2D game. But there are, or you just want your character to float around or something like that. There's plenty of different ways to make a 2D game with a tile world. But the two that would be great to cover is a platformer or an RPG style. So, I'll probably be going towards the RPG style, but if you would like to see anything else other than that, don't be afraid to ask. So if you want to see a platformer, go ahead and ask. But these tutorials are probably going to be leading towards the RPG style. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.